Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to episode 4 of Pain to Joy. I'm Danielle and I am thrilled that you are here today. I would like to continue to thank those of you who have tuned in, are tuning in now, and who have taken the time to reach out and let me know that you're listening and things that have come up for you. It's been a really beautiful experience, and I'm incredibly thankful. You can reach out at dksuddy@yahoo.ca, and on Spotify I'm able to link my Instagram and my Facebook, Danielle.Suddy on Instagram and Danielle Suddy on Facebook. So please reach out if you'd like to connect or chat more. Feel free to follow as well. And again, thank you so much for being here. I was thinking about how today I had woken up really early in the morning with a migraine. Sometimes I hesitate to take my medicine right away because maybe if I just sit up for a bit and drink some water, the sort of crushing pain that I'm feeling like my brain is in a vice will dissipate enough that I can get through my day. And to be honest, that's been how it's been the last couple of weeks. And so I have been quite fatigued. Also, thankfully and surprisingly, I've had a lot of flow and creative ideas all through this time of moving through the stress of continuing to find things in my condo that the tenants that have been evicted have either broken or wrecked or maybe discarded of. And as much as I had mentioned in, I believe, episode 2, that I very much know that they are just things, just material things, and what is important is our health and the people that we have in our lives and the love in our lives. It still has been more stressful than I could have realized, and I believe that maybe today, that combined with cooler weather over the weekend, trying some new exercises yesterday, and my body might not be super happy about that I had this migraine. Took some medicine, went back to sleep, was supposed to meet a friend, and then her little guy wasn't feeling well, unfortunately. It sounds like he's doing better now, so that's great, and she was unable to meet up. And I stopped for a moment, and I was so excited to see her, and I was getting ready to go. And I thought, wait a minute, am I really up for this? How am I feeling? And this is something that I began doing back in 2017. I was working with a woman named Debbie, who was a physio who predominantly worked with people with persistent pain conditions, helping me move through persistent pain, helping me have more freedom in my life, living with persistent pain. And something that can happen with persistent pain conditions is that it can be unpredictable. So I don't know on a given day when the migraine will be so much that I can't meet up with someone or I can't fulfill the plans that I wanted to fulfill. And back in 2012, 13, 14, 15, that was really, really challenging for me because, one, as I've mentioned about being a recovering people pleaser, I hated letting people down. So much so that then I developed hating making plans with anyone because I didn't know if I'd be able to fulfill the plans, which then led me to be even more of a hermit than I already was because my brain was healing. I was in a lot of pain. It was challenging to be around people in larger groups, in loud places, even though I love people and I'm a huge extrovert, even though I love live music and still do, it was challenging to make plans with people. And then I felt like I was constantly letting people down by canceling the plans. Now, what I learned over time are many, many things, and hopefully I'll be able to stay clear today after today's migraine and be able to explain. But one of the things that I learned is if you have to cancel on someone in order to honor your needs, that's okay. And when we honor our own needs, by extension, we honor others. And also, when we honor our own needs, such as I'm at capacity, or I'm in too much pain, or this isn't going to be great, or if I'm in this much pain, or if I'm not feeling well, or if I have too much on my plate or too much on my mind, if I choose to get together with this person, I'm not really honoring them because I'm not able to be as present with them as I would like to. I'm not honoring them because when I am with another human, I want to be as present as possible, to be able to hold loving space, to look them in the eyes, to care, to listen. Now, in my case, there are a lot of times I am experiencing physical pain. However, if it's not too great, I am able to be present. I am able to spend time with others. And then there's other days like today where I was ready to go and see my friend. And at the same time, after I got the call and I checked in with myself, I realized maybe I wasn't up for it. And what I was referring to is I started to learn that back in 2017 whilst I was working with Debbie, the physio, because she really, more than anything, taught me to begin to embrace my journey, but also start to really check in with myself. What do my brain and body need in this moment? What do my body and brain really need? Because often we have our to-do lists and people that depend on us and things that we have to do and things that we need to do. I like to say things that we get to do, but we can talk about how words are powerful another day. And so I really started years ago to say, okay, wait a minute. Someone's invited me to do something. I'm really excited and I really want to do that. But in this moment, stop, put my hand on my heart, take a breath. What do my brain and body need? And sometimes my brain and body need to rest, which is what happened today. So after having gone back to bed for a few hours this morning, after taking the migraine medicine, and then after just about to get ready to leave and meet my friend who wasn't able to meet me, I was like, gosh, my brain hurts so much. It still feels like it's in a vice, a little bit less than earlier today. And so I went back to sleep for a few hours. And in doing so, I honored my energy, I honored myself. Now, did I have a list of things I wanted to do today? Did I have a list of things I needed to do, I wanted to do, places I wanted to go? Yes. Is it a bummer that I wasn't able to do those things? Yes, of course. But the difference between the me now and the me back in 2012 to 2015, 16, 17, even into 18 when I was learning this, is that now I don't catastrophize. Now I don't get super upset because I know that things will get done on their own time, that everything happens when it's meant to happen. And I know that that can sound airy-fairy to some people, but if I wait until I have the energy to do these things, whether it's going to find a lid to the toilet tank because one of my toilets has no toilet lid tank after the tenants left, or looking for a few other things, those things can wait. I can live without it in the meantime. And if I wait to meet up with people who I love until I'm feeling better, then we're going to have a more enjoyable experience. And so I've really learned the value and importance of learning how to honor my energy, honor where I'm at, so that I can bring the best possible energy wherever I am, wherever I'm going. And quite frankly, today, I'm sure once I got down to my car, had I thought I was okay to leave, I would have realized I was too tuckered out, and I would have walked back upstairs and I would have gone to bed. And I share this because there are many times in our lives where we don't get to do the things that we want to do. We might not be up for the things that we want to do, and that can be a real bummer, and that can be really sad. And I'm sure there are things in your life that you've missed out on for a variety of reasons, and I can tell you there are many, many, many experiences, the ones that were most challenging to me that will probably always be sad, or things like missing quality time with family and friends whilst I was healing. That's still going to happen sometimes, and that's a bummer. And then I have to think to myself, how can I seize this opportunity? So again, today the opportunity was to rest. Rest is best when you absolutely need it, because another thing I know to be true is life whispers and then it screams. So if we're not listening at our heart or at our brain or at our body's whispers saying, hey, you need to rest. Hey, you're in pain. Maybe you need to slow down. If we don't start to listen to those whispers, then that's when life starts to scream and things are really, really painful and things are really, really difficult. And when we don't have our health, we really don't have much. And I say that as someone who is still figuring it out, still doing what I can to heal my brain moving forward, still learning how to get stronger. I know that one of the reasons I was in more pain today, like I mentioned earlier, is because the weather is cooler, like quite cool for May, and the sun hasn't come out as much. And as much as I know that it's up there shining As my friend Crystal and I always say, we know it's always up there, it's always shining, whether we can see it, whether we can feel it. However, seeing it and feeling it is something that my body really loves and is craving right now. I tried some new exercises yesterday because I'm determined to get stronger, and I didn't do very many. Did a couple of these and a couple of those, but just doing that is going to potentially bring on a migraine. It's going to potentially make me feel more fatigued. And one of the ways that I've learned to be okay with that and love myself through it more than ever is because I was working with Debbie back in 2017, and she introduced me to a course that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore with Brene Brown and Kristen Neff. It was courageworks.com, and it was a self-compassion course. I used to have a folder with the information, but I believe it's down in my storage unit. And it was a series of videos, maybe not too many, maybe 5 videos with Kristen and Brene Brown. And Kristen was explaining self-compassion and different parts and pieces of self-compassion to Brene Brown. And then there was sort of a test you could take, like a self-compassion scale prior to and then afterwards. And I will get more into that in the future, but in this moment, what I will say is this course opened me up to learn how to be more kind, more gentle, more loving to myself. I had already been for years at that point putting up Post-it notes on my mirror, sometimes writing on my mirror with dry erase markers, ideas, but also lovely love notes to myself, reminders to myself of who I am and who I wanted to be. So I was on that journey of being kinder to myself, but that journey of being more compassionate and more kind and more loving to myself has very much informed who I am today, the person that doesn't totally freak out when she has to cancel on other people or when she has to cancel on herself, when I can't even keep the plans that I wanted to do, things that I wanted to get done, which could be a big bummer. But I know that honoring my energy is loving myself the most. And if I believe that we're here on earth to love and be loved, what I've learned is I also need to love myself first. And I did that today by resting when I needed to rest, by tapping in and saying, what do my body and brain need? Pretty sure I need to rest. Pretty sure I need to sleep. And luckily, after I woke up after a few hours, I was able to get out for a walk in the rain. I saw some beautiful flowers. Eventually the rain stopped. I got to see the sunset trying to poke through these really dark, amazing clouds. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful. That's the other thing, is that when we give our bodies a chance to rest and we give our bodies a chance to recuperate, and I know that that's not always easy. I know that many people have a lot of people depending on them. And when you are in a situation where you're a parent and you're working, or even if you're a parent and you're not working, but you have a lot of things that sort of have to get done, it can be extremely challenging to take time out for yourself. But this self-compassion piece is not dissimilar from what I mentioned in last episode about baby steps, because there can be a tiny incremental increase of how well you treat yourself. And it can start with just stopping and taking one deep belly breath to yourself every day, and taking a second one the next day, and eventually working up to the 5 minutes a day that you find for yourself, those 5 minutes of maybe sitting in silence. Maybe you stay in the car and breathe 5 more minutes before you get into the house with everyone else, or before you go into work. But this idea of being kind and loving to yourself lends to you listening to your body more, honoring your body more, honoring where you're at. And the amazing and wonderful thing is that when we become more in tune with what our brain, our body needs, we then can become more in tune with our emotional needs. And the gift of that is that we're able to then be better for and with the people around us. Because if we're at wit's end and we've hit capacity and we're close to burnout, then the people around us are receiving that version of ourselves versus the version of ourselves that said, hey, I'm starting to take time to honor myself. I'm starting to take time to figure out what I need and what I want, what's going to fill my cup. And again, I am acutely aware that having time to do this, making the time, can be challenging no matter what life situation you're in. But it is this dedication to loving ourselves more and honoring ourselves more that by extension makes all of our relationships better. Sometimes we forget about the relationship we have with ourselves because we're being pulled in so many different directions and helping and loving on so many others that we forget that the relationship we have with ourselves is the most important one. We are with ourselves all of the time, all of the time. So if we can't learn to love ourselves in this lifetime, I think we need to rethink that. And I am extremely thankful that I had someone like Debbie and Angel in my life to help me on this path of self-compassion, which I will get more into the ins and outs, because I'm also acutely aware that our self-worth is tied into the self-compassion piece. Brene Brown has a book called The Gifts of Imperfection. I know that I grew up on some level as a perfectionist, and learning that it's okay to make mistakes, allowing myself to make mistakes, that has also been a journey, but it's such a beautiful journey. It's such an incredibly beautiful journey, because now when things happen, I take them much more in stride, and I know that everything is figure outable, that everything's going to be okay. I can laugh at myself more. And so I highly recommend Brene Brown's books. I highly recommend Kristen Neff and Christopher Germer. They have some books. I will write those in the show notes. And another beautiful gift of becoming more and more compassionate to ourselves is that it really helps us in our relationships with others, because we teach people how to treat us. And if we don't know how to be loving and kind and gentle with ourselves, then sometimes we're not receiving loving, gentle kindness from others, because maybe we're not giving it to ourselves. I remember years ago, my friend and neighbor in Australia, we were talking about dating. So it was more in relation to dating. And I didn't get it at first, but I think it can be in relation to no matter your gender orientation. He said to me, when we were talking about dating, guys see you the way you see yourself. And I wasn't there. I didn't get it. And over time, I've learned that people see you on some level the way that you see yourself. So if I see myself as an empowered goddess who's very self-compassionate, capable, strong, resilient, soft and gentle, loving and caring, thoughtful, all of these things, if I see myself like that, and I have an inner knowing that that is who I am, and that is who I am in my house when I'm by myself, and that is who I am when I'm out in the world, people see that version of me, or some version of that of me. But if I'm not feeling great about myself and my self-worth is low, and I'm looking for validation in romantic relationships or even in friendships, then people are also going to see that. And I do believe that there is an energy put out based on how we feel about ourselves, and that energy can be given back to us by others. And hopefully people are loving and kind and generous and thoughtful with us. But I believe the more kind and loving and generous and thoughtful you become, the more that comes back to you. And so that's another gift of moving through learning about self-compassion, learning how to be more kind and gentle with myself. Just a simple thing before bed, for example, I'll look in the bathroom mirror and I'll say, "You're beautiful, I love you," and I'll give myself a hug. That's just a little gift that I'm giving myself. And so the invitation here is there one thing you could do today to love yourself more? Because today I loved myself more by tapping in, asking myself when I needed to rest, and giving myself that gift of rest. And by giving myself that gift, I was able to go for a walk later. I was able to move my body, get in some joyful movement, and return some messages and be in connection with people I love. So what is one thing today you can do, one simple thing to love yourself more? Maybe it's listening to this podcast. You took time out for yourself to do something that you wanted to do. Maybe it's taking one deep breath, and we can do that together now. Hand on my heart. Deep breath in. Exhaling all that no longer serves and perhaps never did. And really take a moment, and we can stop and take a moment. What is one thing you can do today to love yourself more? It can start as simply as that. Now I'd like to share a challenge. These last couple of weeks, I have been moving through my condominium, finding things that the evicted tenants had broken or wrecked. I thought that I had found everything. And then the other day I was lying in bed and I noticed that the frosted glass piece on my ceiling fan that covers where the light bulb should be, there's no light bulb. I noticed that right away, but the frosted glass is gone. And so there's just been little thing after little thing after little thing that has been missing. And I don't think I realized the challenge has been that on some level I was avoiding phoning the insurance company. I had phoned the insurance company on 4 occasions one morning, but it wasn't clear to me that if I made a claim, it would be worthwhile or not. And finally I thought, let's move out of living in fear, because my deductible was a large deductible, so I'd rather not pay a deductible and not receive anything back. I don't want to live there anymore. I mentioned in episode 1 or 2 that I learned through this court case that took over, 9 years of my life to stop living in fear. Well, what does that look like? That looks like not living in victim mode, thinking to myself, oh, this happened to me. These tenants, they were terrible to me. I don't think that at all. I mentioned it already. I don't think they were thinking about me. I don't think they're thinking about me now. I don't think this is a reflection on who I am as a human being in any way, shape, or form. But also when I was in this court case for many years after a car accident, I was living in a fearful space because my economic situation was not good. There were people in my life who I love, but they were like, what if you don't get this money? And what if you get this money? And what if this happens? And just this constant vibration of living in fear is not a very healthy or abundant way to live. And I know that some people might think I'm delusional. I am the most optimistic person I know. But over time, I had a true mindset shift because I believed, and I truly believe now, that the best is yet to come, that our lives can have magical moments every day, that we can turn anything we're doing into an adventure, whether it's an errand or going for a walk and checking out the beautiful flowers. Tonight, my walk was so stunning and beautiful and wonderful and magical. And so I don't live in a place of fear anymore. But these last couple of weeks, I think a little bit of fear snuck in because thinking about phoning an insurance company to make a claim just reminded me of the scrutiny that I was under for nearly a decade. And even tonight, when I finally made the call, which is a success, I made the phone call tonight. You can make a claim for 24 hours a day. So I thought, okay, I've gone for my walk. My brain feels better than it did earlier. So the joy and the success is making the call, but also there have been so many opportunities that have come from these dudes wrecking stuff in my place. So many opportunities for me to heal things that I haven't healed. So many opportunities for me to express myself. And my friend and I talk about using our full voices, but lately we've just talked about using our voice. We are using our voices. I've had so many opportunities to express myself and say, hey, I'm not okay with this. Or, for example, this evening when I phoned the gentleman at the insurance company, the first time I called, I had to answer all these questions. It was a robot. I finally get through and the woman says, thank you for calling. And then the phone call cut out. And I thought, oh my gosh, I just went through 10 minutes. Okay, I'm going to try again. And then I tried again and I said that to him. I said, hey, I just want you to know my energy is not optimal. I had a migraine earlier. I've been putting this off because I was in a court case for a long time. I never wanted to make a claim ever again. It's been unpleasant to have this happening, even though I know they are just things. So I said this to the gentleman on the call. I said, I just want you to know that I'm not bringing the best energy that I would like to bring because this has brought up some stress for me. And I just want you to know that I had a migraine today and I need you to take it slow. Phone calls can be difficult. But all of this is so freaking wonderful. It's so wonderful that I've had so many opportunities in the last couple of weeks with a property management company, with another property management company, because I'm dealing with, do these people have a garage clicker? Do they have an extra fob? We don't know. I've been able to express myself with confidence, clearly, with no freaking fear. Now tonight, I don't know if I was fearful when I made the call to the insurance company. Probably on some level, some sort of anxiety, some sort of fear, some sort of not wanting to have to deal with this again. And when I was telling the gentleman on the phone at the insurance company a little bit of the story of how things went down, how I understood it, it was stressful. He's reading this back to me. I start to feel a little bit like on edge. And then I took a breath and I wrote down in my journal in front of me, I actually wrote it out. It's not his issue. Relax. This guy on the phone with the insurance company, he's never dealt with me. I've told him already that this is a little bit anxiety ridden for me. But what an opportunity to take a breath while I'm on the phone. And what had happened was, at some point, the evicted tenants had put stuff out on my patio, and I referred to it as a patio. He referred to it as a back porch. One, I'm a very literal person, but two, when I'm dealing with the adjuster in the future, I don't want there to be any discrepancy. So I said, hey, is there any way you can change the back porch to patio? And he absolutely did that. And that might sound like the smallest, tiniest thing, but I guarantee you that during the 9 years of court case, and even a year or two ago, if I was in a similar situation, I wouldn't speak up. Maybe not a year or two ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but I wouldn't have spoken up. I wouldn't have said, hey, would you mind changing that? But I just said, oh, is there a difference between a back porch and a patio? Because I'm probably going to refer to it as a patio. Is there any way you could change that? And I'm going to repeat, that might sound like the tiniest, most simple thing to you, like it's no big deal. But for me, as someone who never used to want to rock the boat and never used to want to step outside the box or step out of line, I would have just bit my tongue and not said anything. So I am so thankful for the innumerable opportunities I have already received in the last couple of weeks because of this tenant situation. And I will be honest, yes, my brain is more tired, I'm more fatigued, and I have been in more pain. I don't like to say the word. I don't like to say tired either. So TIRED and a lot more PAIN, also due to the weather, also due because I'm trying to up my activities. And that isn't fun. That is unpleasant. I will admit that is unpleasant. I will admit that earlier tonight, there was a moment where I could feel the stress bubbling up about having not made this call to the insurance company yet. And I got teary for about 30 seconds. And I was like, oh goodness, I didn't realize that this was actually upsetting me so much. And I let myself feel those feelings. And I felt overwhelmed and sad and anxious for maybe another minute, not even. And I was like, okay, if you feel up to it later, you're going to call. It's no big deal. And I did it. So I am celebrating that I made the call. Fingers and toes crossed. Right now it's pending. Sounds like they're not sure based on my 4 previous calls. They're not sure what the deal will be, but I made the call. I was clear. I was concise. I expressed myself. I was confident. And again, may we all remember that when we are on a phone call that yes, is stressful for us or can be bringing us anxiety, that person on the other end of the call, that is not their issue. They're just doing their job. And I try my utmost to be kind and caring and just let people know, hey, this is stressful for me. And when you let people know that, they are more patient, they are more understanding. Honestly, it is a gift to be able to express myself more and more. It is a gift to be able to be more assertive and just affirm my needs. Thank you for being here and witnessing this journey of the last few weeks. And I truly hope that you can choose to do something loving and caring for yourself, not just today, the day you've listened to this, but tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. And I promise to share more about self-compassion. I promise to share more about my self-compassion journey and how I've learned to embrace this journey of persistent pain, because we all have pain, whether it's emotional pain or physical pain or just stuff that is stressful, stuff that's bogging us down. And if we can learn to be more kind and more loving to ourselves, gosh, wouldn't that be amazing? As I said that out loud, my whole heart expanded. And by extension, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could all be more patient and kind and loving with each other? And if that means expressing yourself when you get on a call at the beginning to let that other person know, if that means when you get to the doctor's office saying to the receptionist, I'm a little on edge today because of this, just wanted to let you know. Let's all express ourselves more. Let's be more loving. Let's be more kind. That is my hope and wish for you, for me, for this world. And I am just sending you love on your journey. Wishing you moments of beauty and moments of joy. Hand on my heart, deep breath in. Exhaling all that no longer serves and perhaps never did. And sending you so, so, so much love.